Lesson 3, Opioid Practice Part 1 of 2. Please take a photo of this slide and the next slide if you have not done so already from Lesson 1 to help you with the following opioid conversion examples. This slide is a reminder of the fentanyl conversion chart. There will be 8 examples in total. You will need pen, paper, calculator, and in the workplace, a colleague to check your maths. Please practice showing your working out in these examples and in your documentation at work. In our suggested answers, we will show examples of how we would ideally like this to look. In each example, please pause the video after the question, come up with your answer, then go to the next slide for our answer. Example 1. 60 milligrams of oral morphine over 24 hours is equivalent to how much oral oxycodone over 24 hours? Answer. 60 milligrams of oral morphine over 24 hours, divide by 1.5 to get to oxycodone equivalent, is equivalent to 40 milligrams of oral oxycodone over 24 hours. Did you by any chance happen to get the answer 90 milligrams? It's a very common error to flip the ratio the wrong way. 1 milligram of oral oxycodone is equivalent to 1.5 milligrams of oral morphine. So 40 milligrams oral oxycodone is 60 milligrams of oral morphine. Another way to think about it is that oxycodone is stronger than morphine, so the dose equivalent must be smaller. Note how we document the route, the time period if applicable, for instance over 24 hours, and the ratio used. Thank you. Example 2. Each Panadine Fort tablet contains 30 milligrams codeine with 500 milligrams paracetamol. How many PRN Panadine Fort tablets contain the equivalent amount of opioid as endone 5 milligrams? Answer. Endone is oral oxycodone immediate release. So oral oxycodone 5 milligrams PRN times 1.5 to get to morphine is the equivalent of 7.5 milligrams oral morphine PRN times 8 to get to codeine is equivalent to 60 milligrams oral codeine. Because each Panadine Fort tablet contains 30 milligrams of oral codeine, endone 5 milligrams has the rough equivalent amount of opioid as 2 tablets of Panadine Fort. Again, note how we document the route, the time period, in this case PRN, and the ratio used. Let's get more practical. Question 3. Mr. Andrews is on OxyContin 30 milligrams BD for metastatic prostate cancer with bone mets that is currently stable on hormone treatment. His pain is well controlled and he does not take any breakthroughs usually during the day. He presents to hospital with acute gastroenteritis, vomiting, and acute renal failure, eGFR 20, baseline eGFR is 45. The gastro team asks you what analgesia should be charted. What would you advise? Make sure your answer includes regular analgesia, PRN analgesia, and timing of stopping old analgesia and starting new analgesia. For this example and all future examples, please perform a 25% dose reduction when switching from one opioid to another. Answer. Switching him to regular plus PRN subcutaneous hydromorphone would be the best choice due to his vomiting, therefore subcutaneous route, and renal failure, therefore hydromorphone choice. So, OxyContin oral 30 milligrams BD equals to 60 milligrams oral oxycodone over 24 hours, times 1.5 to get to oral morphine equals 90 milligrams oral morphine over 24 hours. Divide by 5 to get to oral hydromorphone equals 18 milligrams oral hydromorphone over 24 hours. Divide by 2 to get to subcut hydromorphone equals 9 milligrams subcut hydromorphone over 24 hours. Equals 1.5 milligrams subcut hydromorphone Q4 hourly regular. but we dose reduced 25% due to an opioid switch, equals 1.125 milligrams subcutaneous hydromorphone Q4 hourly regular. Now, the nurses would probably raise some eyebrows if you charted that exactly, so we're going to round up or down to the nearest reasonable number. And if you're not sure what's a reasonable number to round up or down to, you can just check with the nurses what they think. I'm going to round this down to 1 milligram subcutaneous hydromorphone Q4 hourly regular plus PRN 0.5 to 1 milligrams subcut hydromorphone Q2 hourly, maximum 6 milligrams per day. If the OxyContin was taken at 8 a.m. in the morning, start regular hydromorphone at 8 p.m. and use PRN hydromorphone in the meantime. However, if the patient definitely vomited up the morning OxyContin and is in pain, it is reasonable to start the regular hydromorphone now and monitor for toxicity. Remember that the breakthrough dose is 1/12 to 1/6 of the total daily regular dose. And note how we write hydro in capitals and the brand name Dilaudid to reduce potential confusion with morphine, which has happened many times in reality, causing adverse patient events. Question 4. Mrs. Bellamy is on oral Palexia slow release 100 mg BD plus PRN oral Palexia immediate release 50 mg QID for pain from multiple myeloma. She presents very constipated and in severe pain. In desperation, she has taken PRN Palexia immediate release 50 mg 4 times in the last 12 hours, and it hasn't helped. This is unusual, as usually the PRN Palexia immediate release does help her pain, and she usually doesn't take more than 1 PRN a day. She's starting to vomit too. Her renal and liver function are normal. CT scan shows her multiple myeloma is stable. You start aperients and enemas to manage her constipation. What analgesia would you chart during this process? Clue: what do you think is the cause of her pain? Make sure your answer includes regular and PRN analgesia and timing of stopping old and starting new analgesia. Answer: severe constipation could well be the cause of her pain because the tablets are not being absorbed properly. Therefore, a straight conversion to subcut analgesia while her constipation is being treated may be enough to control her pain. The default analgesic for patients with normal renal function and no allergy to it is morphine, so we're going to convert her from oral Palexia to subcutaneous morphine while the constipation is being treated. So, oral Palexia slow release 100 mg BD is 200 mg of oral tapentadol over 24 hours. Times 0.3 to get to oral morphine equals 60 mg oral morphine over 24 hours. Divide by 2 to get to subcut morphine equals 30 mg subcut morphine over 24 hours. Equals to 5 mg subcut morphine Q4 hourly regular. But dose reduced 25% due to an opioid switch equals 3.75 mg subcut morphine Q4 hourly. I'm going to round that up to 4 mg subcut morphine Q4 hourly regular plus PRN 2 to 4 mg subcut morphine Q2 hourly, maximum 24 mg per day. If the oral Palexia slow release was taken 8 a.m. in the morning, start the regular subcut morphine at 8 p.m. and use PRN subcut morphine in the meantime. However, if the patient definitely vomited up the morning oral Palexia slow release and is in pain, it is reasonable to start the regular subcut morphine now and monitor for toxicity. Part 2 of 2 video will be the next lesson to go through some further examples with other specific learning points. Thank you.